Saturday's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hi, and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're watching our podcast on one of our many platforms, or if you're in California listening to us on the radio on the great station KCAA, the NBC affiliate out in California. We want to appreciate you so much for listening and watching the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. And today we got a special guest. I just met this man a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't wait to get him on air. And so y'all can meet him and hear his stories and see what he's all about. So today we have JP Dyal at JP Dyal Horsemanship on the show. JP, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Scott. It's an honor.
Oh, man, it's my honor, man. It's going to be fun. So, heck, let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
So growing up, were you a horseman?
No. I grew up in the Florida. No. I grew up in the Florida Keys in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I was fishing all day. When you guys grew up, like we were talking the other day, you grew up on the ranch. You were riding horses before school, after school. I was fishing before school and after school.
Hey, man, that's all right, man.
No, I didn't get into horses until later in life, after the corporate world.
Man, but see, that's what the industry needs and loves is people getting into the industry that hasn't ridden before, you know, fresh set of eyes, you know. So living in Florida, what'd you like to fish for?
Oh, geez. I grew up working, you name it. My favorite stuff was bonefish and tarpon and snook in the backcountry in Florida, in the Florida Keys, the backside of the Everglades. Man, it was just the neatest place in the world. But I also grew up fishing offshore. But I worked on the charter boats, but I didn't like that as much. I had to fight seasickness for a long when I was younger. So it was a little calmer in that backcountry. So we had a lot of fun. Fly fishing for, now most people fly fish for trout. We're fly fishing for 150-pound tarpon. So it's a little bit different ball game, but man, it's the neatest thing in the world.
That is so cool, man. That is so cool. So growing up fishing in Florida, did you ever dream or think about becoming such a great horseman?
No. Yeah, if you'd have told me I'd be living in California doing horses, I would have laughed at you. Now, part of my family, Janie Musgrove, and them, they had families out west of, had horses out west of town, and they did rodeos and stuff, and they were great. And I did find a picture of me not too long ago. She sent me as a toddler on a horse. But other than going out and riding big old big shots, big paint every once in a while with her, I didn't know what I was doing. Or outside of the, vacation to North Carolina, going on a trail ride in the summertime, nah. Nah, never would have thought.
Not your thing. And that's why you're so important to this audience, because our audience has a mix of just pure horse people and people that have never been in the industry that might want to get into it, and to become maybe not at your level, but strive for it for sure. So when you're fishing in Florida, then corporate world takes over. And you had a mortgage and finance. You're a smart guy. You're a real smart guy. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I climbed the corporate ladder pretty fast after college. I did go back to Florida after college for a little while. Then got recruited out there to North Dallas, climbed the corporate ladder, had a office in North Dallas, one in Fort Worth, one out here in California. Life was great. Climbed that corporate ladder, made more money than I knew what to do with. Here I am, living on a golf course, Jaguars, Land Rovers, country club. And then I was right in the middle of that epicenter of when that mortgage crash back in 2007. I can tell you the day. I mean, it lost millions of dollars. I lost everything. Lost absolutely everything. Lost the wife, the house. Practically lost my insanity. Went through a real bad bout, depression. Man, I would just get up, Scott. I would just sit on that couch. I lived on a golf course. I had this big oak tree out there, and I would just stare at it all day. I don't know what I was thinking. And then it got dark and went back to bed. I didn't do anything. And I, right before that all happened, my wife at the time had, I think I got some silent auction or something. She got some horse riding stuff out there at Frisco Horse Park. And I'd gone out a couple times, and there was a guy out there owned a saddle shop, Spurs Saddlery up in just north of Dallas. And after everything crashed, he noticed I wasn't coming out at all. And he kind of drugged me out, got me to go out, start riding. And then at least a horse for a little while, a thoroughbred out there. And I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I ended up buying a untrained, he could handle her, big Mustang, bought from a girl she sent to a trainer, and trainer broke his ankle trying to get on her the first time. He was a good trainer. Just things happen. And that horse should have killed me. But, I was real intuitive. I was a quick learner. I studied and studied. But still, with everything going on in my life and all my energy and, the baggage I was carrying around, I shouldn't. And it was a miracle I didn't get hurt.
Right. Well, your focus wasn't there, but it was like that horse was trying to rescue you. Yeah,
it was kind of funny. Someone pointed out the other day, I think Ward Schiller pointed out, that, the horse's name was Ego. And she was rightfully named, and she was a big 16-tube Mustang from Black Rock Range. And she was a handful, but she ended up becoming an incredible horse. So, here, and I had an ego. All of us did in that, mortgage finance world back then. We were invincible, man. Yeah, it's not going to happen to us. Yeah. Then you get the rug pulled out from underneath you, and get your ego put in check by ego herself. And
that's funny.
Yeah, I always tell people that horse saved my life because it was my reason why for getting off the couch.
Wow.
I mean, it was tough. It was a tough time. It got to the point where, I would try to do other things. Part of us, we're kind of blackballed back then in the mortgage world. Yeah. And, you get a pretty high level in a company, and then you get arrogant, and, pride sets in. And you don't want to take the lesser jobs. That's stupid. Yeah. Right? And stuff like that. And then depression starts setting in more and more, and money's all gone because it pretty much disappeared in about a week.
Oh, my.
And we got a title insurance company going with a couple guys out there in Fort Worth, and we were doing real well. We were doing really well. And then one of my partners decided to tell his wife on Christmas Eve he was having an affair. Well, that turned into a mess. I just put two fingers up and said, I'm done. And at that point, I was riding with a guy named Kurt Moore doing mounted shooting out there in Decatur. And I just started training with him. And slowly things started making their way around. But, it's hard to be a trainer, especially when you're starting out, especially when you didn't grow up doing horses.
Do you think it made you a better trainer because you didn't know what you didn't know and you relied on the horse so much?
Yes. I was telling my assistant that the other day. I didn't know where the glass ceilings were.
Right.
Right.
I love that.
For one.
I love that.
Yeah, you did. You don't know where the glass ceilings are. The approaches I took, the back up a step, so before I even, got to that title insurance stuff, my life, when things had gotten pretty darn bad, I remember one night I went out, I was taking care of a rescue Thanksgiving while they all took off for the go see family. And man, I'm like staying in the back of a rundown trailer, couch surfing. I mean, it's, but I had gone to these horse rescues because I was like, who's in the world is going to send a guy horses to train, right? He doesn't know how to train. So I would go to horse rescues, and I was like, here, let me train your horses. I'm not going to charge you anything, or give me $100 when you adopt them out, just so they could make them more adoptable, right? I'm just looking for horses to practice on.
Right.
I'm just looking for horses, right?
Right.
And I'd also, around that time, I'd gone to the Mustang makeovers probably back in 2009. I'm like, God, I got to do this. This is the neatest thing in the world, man. 100 days on a horse and watching the guys do this. I'm like, I can't believe this. And I was just, kind of obsessed with it. So I was doing whatever I could. I was helped Bob start the shop, Saddle Silo, in Spur Salary up there in north of Dallas. And I'd be there in the day and training every horse I could find. But one night, it was on Thanksgiving night. I have to go back and figure out exactly what year. I remember having dinner over at his house, and we were all out. And I think I'd beat myself up so much during all that. After everything happened in the mortgage world, I was holding so much inside. I remember being at dinner that night with him and his family, and things are great. with them, and I'm just watching. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? And that night when I got back to that rescue, I remember they had two big Mustangs on this round pen. They couldn't handle them. You probably could feed them through the panels, right, with some hay in your hand. But yeah,
that's so tough. So when you were looking at the oak tree, the first day you walked in that arena or that round pen to see Ego, what was that walk like? Was that just intimidating, or was it so humbling, or was it I just don't care?
More exhilarating. I had actually played with her a little bit right before I got her. I would just go in there, just like I'm going to end up on that other story I was telling you. I just kind of go in, and just walk around with her, or sit around in there, and then I'd move her around. Back then I used to do a little chasing around the round pin probably a little too much, but we just move her around, get a little respect, and then we're just feeling each other out. It wasn't intimidating.
Right.
It was quite calming, actually.
Yeah.
I said exhilarating, but I calmed myself when I said that. I'm like, no, I wasn't amped up or anything like that. It wasn't going. It was more of a sensation of calmness. For me, if that makes any sense.
That space where it should have been nervous, never been with horses like that on a Mustang and a big Mustang. It did the opposite to you. It calms you down.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is before really, I hadn't gone to those horse rescues by this point. I hadn't done anything like that. I hadn't trained anything, just ridden horses out there. And, here's this big, beautiful horse just looking at you, right? They just look right through you. And,
love that.
Yeah. And when I was in that ramp, so back then, whenever I was with a horse, all the other stuff I was carrying around, all the stuff I was beating myself up over, all the, the losses and stuff, just kind of disappeared.
Right.
When I'm in there, it just disappeared.
I love that. I love how you started building your model from the get, though. You were taking every horse you could take just to train and learn. So I guess partially so you could teach them, but really so all these horses could teach you how to be a horse trainer.
You got it. I till this day, I'll say there's never a single horse I haven't learned something from.
Absolutely.
I don't care how great it is. And I got some really nice cutting horses in from someone sent me down from Montana. But as great as bred they are, everyone from that horse there to this one over here that you can't barely control, it bucks like crazy. Everyone teaches me something. Yep. And the neat thing about when I did that is there's a reason that horse is in that rescue, right? There's a reason their friend didn't take the horse. So you got to go through and figure out how, right? You know what I'm saying? And you're like, if somebody has a horse they're going to give away, they know somebody, and it's a great horse, that person's like, here, I'll take your horse. So no, if it ends up in a rescue, there's some type of trauma going on. There's something going on in that horse's background. So I got really good at coming up with I don't want to say a method or a process, but coming up with being able to feel through the horse and find out, because we don't know anything about it. Yeah. If it belongs, even if it's been ridden. So you kind of just restart them. And, I stopped trying to go through and try to diagnose what was wrong, or trying to figure out what the triggers were. Because you can beat yourself up doing that. And quite often, it's multiple things that stack on top of each other. We call trigger sagging. So I just put them through, I would just work with them. And I guess developed my own process. I can't figure out a better word at the moment. And through that, I started making more and more connection with the horses, building a relationship and building trust. And that was the biggest thing I saw with so many of those horses and so many of the horses I get in for training, because I trained everything from, Mustangs to, quarter horses to Lusitanos. So I'm trying to think of what's all in my barn right now. Andalusians and warm bloods. That's all that's in my barn. The 18 are in my barn right now. Wow. And so I've trained a multitude of horses. And it's really interesting to just go in there, and you got to build that trust with that horse. But before you can do that, you got to establish connection. And that's where horsemanship in my world, I wholeheartedly really much believe, starts with connection. It's going to build the relationship, then trust. Now we're talking about mutual trust, okay? Yeah. And then you're going to have mutual respect. And then that horse is going to look at us as a leader, because that horse is out of the herd. They're looking to us as for leadership. Right. And that's right. our job. And we can't just force it upon them.
Right. I love that I love that, how you go in and you don't try and just find the problem and fix that problem. You break it all the way back and rebuild the house.
You got it. It's like, if I know this horse, someone told me is having a bucking problem, you think I'm going to go look for the buck? No. If that horse bucks, I failed the horse.
Yeah.
And it failed me. I failed the horse. And very rarely do I ever have a situation. I mean, I think I've been bucked off a horse 4 times in the last 4 years. And probably only had maybe 2 other bucks I rode out. I can't ride a buck worth anything because they don't do it to me.
Right, right.
And so that's the thing. Don't ever ask a horse a question you don't know the answer to.
Because they'll tell you or they'll show you. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely. Well, man, we're going to take a quick break on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show and come right back. And we're going to ask JP about working with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department and the Wild Horse Program. So a lot more cool stories and cool information from JP. We'll be right back.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they are little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen, with JP Dyal of JP Dyal Horsemanship. And we're talking horses. So fun how he came in, didn't grow up riding horses, but he figured out a way and a system to help horses. And now I'd like to talk to you about working for Sacramento County Sheriff's Posse and the Wild Horse Program. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it's one of the best jobs in the world out there. You know, I get to work with a great group of guys. It's Sacramento Sheriff's Office Wild Horse Program, and all the gentlemen, my crew, like, you know, they join the crew, and they're out there 5 days a week, and they learn 6 levels of horsemanship. And what's really neat is to watch these guys develop. You know, when they first come out there, you know, you kind of some of my deputies are like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it. I'm like, yeah, give him a chance, and it's usually 3 weeks, maybe a little longer, but somewhere around the 3-week mark. You start to see things change in them, you know, their body language, their vocabulary, you know, and they're not working with a wild horse. I mean, they're working with Mustangs, but they're either working with typically one of my personal ones I bring out there. And I usually bring 2 horses out there for them to work with. Then they're working with, you know, a couple others that we have out there that are just going to stay at the ranch. You know, they're not going to be adopted out. And you know, they started just learning that first level of horsemanship, because you got to realize these guys haven't touched a horse before. Okay. And then, they didn't go on most of them didn't go on a family vacation going trail riding. So they have very little, or actually none to very little experience ever around a horse. And we're dealing with Mustangs, okay? It's not like your domestic horse.
Right.
You know, they're rounded up off the range for various reasons. And then we handle them, I call it, we handle them in squeeze chutes for vaccinations and feed and stuff like that. It's about the only way we really can do it safely. And so, you got some trauma in a horse. I mean, they're starting below zero. Then you got a guy who's in jail. He got there for whatever reason. His life wasn't going down the right path. Then he gets incarcerated. That's trauma in itself. So you got two lost souls sitting there in that round pen. I got to work with each other to save each other. And they're both starting below zero. It's not like starting with a domestic horse. And so it's neat to watch.
It's got to be such a blessing to watch that, because you have two just raw pieces of clay and you're putting them together, and they don't trust each other. They don't understand each other. They don't speak the same language.
Nope.
And you're trying to work with both. Do you think what happened with you, and when you made your first walk into the round pen with Ego all those years ago, do you kind of relate to these guys? Like, I know what that feels like.
Yeah, I do. Granted, my story, coming back from the ashes is similar, but I wasn't incarcerated, nothing illegal. But so, and some of these guys who fight, my current crew doesn't. Some fight addictions and stuff that I don't have those experiences. But the fact that I'm able to show them how to do something, I'm more of a mentor to them. I manage the ranch. I teach them how to train, how to do everything softly. And I mean, we're riding these horses on loose reins. I mean, these guys, some of these guys, when they're done, they can go work for any program in the United States. These guys are great colt starters. I mean, they are phenomenal. I'm like, dang. But I teach them, they get to learn from my experiences and I don't teach them any different than I teach my clientele. I come from lessons from my clientele out here at my ranch for coming to my clinics and how I train their horses. I don't teach them any different. And so what the guys start to experience as they go through this, and what happened to me is that the horse, everything you learn with that horse, it changes you. And that transcends everything in your life, your relationships. So when these guys go back into the barracks, we call them, and we can see the jail from where it is. It's only a few hundred yards away. First, they got to be a tough guy. The one thing they got to learn to do that's so hard is become vulnerable.
Yeah.
They got to learn to let everything go. If that horse feels that energy, that horse is going to let you connect with them. It's going to be like looking to, like back, remember we had cable TVs and we were always trying to scramble the channels to get one, and it's always like that. Well, that's basically their energy between them and the horse. I'm not talking all woo-woo stuff. I mean, it's true. And, so these guys they start to change. They start to learn to let all that go. And before long, when they go back into those barracks, they're not walking in there like all tough. They don't care. It's whatever. They learn patience, right? Everything in the relationships, even though they get only speak to their wife or girlfriends on the phone, but things start to change. And every one of these guys, I mean, I talked to one just on the way over here when I was in the car on the way over here. I was talking to one of the guys who's out. He's moving to Utah. Couldn't be happier for him. He's going to get married. I mean, it's so neat to watch these guys' lives. Not all of them do horses when they get out. One of them just got a job on a ranch last week. You'll meet him. Hopefully, if we get you over here to Sacramento for the Echoes Film Festival, you're going to meet him. Yeah, he's doing great. He was in the program for a long, long time. He actually left the program, went to do welding. And you look at him, he looks like Snoop Dogg, but he's a dang good horseman.
Is he really?
Yeah, he really is. He's a neat guy. He's very well educated. And it's just so neat. I mean, I get pretty close with them. I don't even ask what they did. Eventually they tell me. They're like, Mr. Dyal, you never asked me what I did to get in trouble. I'm like, I don't care. That's why the rearview mirror is this big and the windshield's this big. I don't care about going forward. Yeah. We aren't going to dwell on the past. It's what you do when you fail.
Yeah, so. I love that, man, so much. I love you have a horse with his second chance or his first second chance, and you have a person getting a second chance, and you got that. That's pretty powerful. And
Yeah, it's surreal to watch it happen out there.
Do you think more prisons, more jails, more opportunities for horses? Do you see that happening?
Yes, we're actually having some interest out here with a couple of sheriff departments here in the state.
Awesome.
I know so we have an agreement with the Bureau of Land Management. I know the state program manager that I work with, named Amy Dumas. She's kind of like my work wife. I know she's going to be going down to one of them here very shortly to speak with them and present to them. I think programs like this are just incredible. You're accomplishing a couple different goals. And when these programs were first started, I believe it's governor in Colorado years ago started out there, to help get horses trained. But there's also the therapeutic aspect of it, the life-changing piece of it that the horse teaches us. That
right.
And I'm not an equine assisted therapist. I'm very much seeking and looking to do that. I'm more of a life coach from these guys, a mentor because of my experiences in life and where I've been and highs and the lows. And one thing I teach these guys too is also don't regret anything. Yeah. You are, all your things in the past, all your decisions made you who you are today, and don't regret anything. But to see the guys change, and these programs could do so successful all around in other prisons and in jails. Now we're the only jail program in the country.
Really?
We're at a county jail. All the other ones are prisons. There's only 5 in the country. Right. It's not like it's
no, but it should be.
Yeah,
it should be.
It should. It really could. And we have so much support from outside in the community, across the country for it. I mean, I think right now we have orders for like 30-something law enforcement horses. Everything from Border Patrol is getting horses from us. LA Sheriff just got one from us. Anaheim. I could just keep going on and on. And so, these programs are extremely successful and can change people's lives. Right. And, I don't have the numbers and all this stuff. We measure something out here called recidivization rate, and it is ridiculously low coming through the horse program than any other, than like their general population. And I don't have those numbers, and and they're recalculating all that, but it reduces the chance of them coming back tremendously. It's changing their lives, and it's just so neat to see.
Yeah, I'm so honored to get to work with horses every day. I love it, but they're so powerful, yet they don't even have to move a hoof to be powerful, because they're helping these inmates, get a second chance, or helping military when they come back. And they're so strong in what they do if we give them the shot. And with your program, I love that you're finding outs for these horses and these Mustangs to keep them busy, give them a job. But these inmates are changing in 3 weeks. That's incredible.
The first changes start to happen.
Yeah,
there.
The first.
And
the
then,
soft change.
Yeah, they're starting that. You start to see that behavioral change.
So cool.
And as I go through those levels of horsemanship, in the first level, your basic stuff. They'll do their first ride on a horse. On one of my horses, they're in the first level. Level 2, now they're learning to ride, just basic transitions and stuff like that. Level 3, now I'm teaching them drills. Now they're going to start working with horses that are up for like the next adoption. They're going to be helping the higher they're supporting the other trainers because they're starting to ride horses. These are safer. Some of these horses still only got like 30 days on them. And, just working on suppleness drills and teaching a horse to move and whatnot. And then, level 4 is when they get to go work with their first wild horse. And that's cool, neat. Man. And it's real neat to see. And in the beginning, they're still a little reserved. And that's when the big change happens. That's when they really got to learn what they have to let go of. Just because they're working with them, they can't hide anything from that wild horse. And then I've watched grown men crying around him when they did the first touch on a horse. I remember talking to one guy one day, and I told him, I said, "Man, I'm proud of you." He goes, "It's the first time in my life I'm proud of myself."
Oh,
yeah.
But you gave him that chance. You set that up.
Well,
that's strong.
There's a lot of us did. We have an incredible support team out there. And, from every one of our deputies to our senior management to the Bureau of Land Management, there's a lot of people behind these guys. We all have their back. And it's
what a
important
powerful
for them to understand. Yeah.
God.
And then, then after they get about, I think 10 rides safely on that horse, they've passed their level 4. Now they're going to learn level 5 is how to take and progress that horse. And then when you get to level 6, these guys, this is professional level. This is, hey, because I worked during my journey, I went and worked for some reining cow horse guys and stuff as colt starter. This is when they get to go, they could go and do stuff like that afterwards. I'm I have a little, I was talking to one of them the other day. I'm blessed now myself to have a metallic cat, a 4-year-old metallic cat, a 5-year-old now. And I'm going to bring her out there, just so they can understand what the collection looks like and what a stop. I'm not going to be able to do big slides in there because of the footing, but just so they can see, because I'm like, I got to teach him more. I mean, he's a level 6 and I have him for another year. This guy, we're already teaching him muscle spin, we aren't going to get any slides out of him. We can, if we have them long enough. We just typically don't. But it's just, they're starting to learn the lead changes, like flying lead changes and on cue. I mean, it's so neat to watch. And I'm like, okay, we're going to bring out my fancy one.
Oh, that's a pro level horse, man. Metallic cat. They're not going to know what to think.
Yeah, and another thing we do out there, we have cows. What makes it? Nothing makes a horse better than a cow. We have a few. The deputies have some cows out there. We have anywhere from 8 to 12 cows at a time. We'll bring them in, teach them to sort. We did at our last adoption. I showed you guys how to do team pinning, and we had a little preview before our adoption, and like everyone was like, what are you going to do for the preview? I'm like, team pinning. And I would throw the cows out in there 3 at a time, and it was so fun to watch them and watch those horses. And they're having a heyday. The adopters love watching the horse because the horse gets horses in every gate, coming after these cows. And I mean, it's just so much fun.
So much life changing.
Totally. It was for me too, because I learned that these guys are good guys. They made bad decisions.
Yeah.
So not to be judgmental. I mean, these guys are really good guys. Now they didn't have the support networks that we grew up. A lot of them didn't have fathers and things like that. So they had traumas in their life. Now it's fun to watch them change, and I learned not to be judgmental.
Man, I love that so much, and I love the fact that you're finding outlets for these great Mustangs and horses by the police force and the Border Patrol and other people wanting to adopt these guys and use them, not just stick them in the yard, but actually use them. And that is so important because everybody wants to help the Mustangs or the horses. You're finding a way to actually do it. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of agents from the BLM have horses now. I'm getting real close with those guys. A lot of the adopters, I was out riding this weekend. Some of the adopters were like, come on, go for a ride. You've been working too much. Go for a ride. So my assistant and I, we loaded up our horses and we met out at the trail. And it's fun. I mean, we have a big network all around. People come get our horses, from Seattle, San Diego. I mean, all over the darn place. Arizona, Arizona Border Patrol comes out here to get horses from us.
Wow.
And it's neat to watch it. And that person who came down all the way from outside of Seattle, she says, I like the way you taught the guys how to ride. They ride soft, nice loose rein, riding this horse soft. We start every horse in a hackmore.
Awesome.
Blows out, and I teach them the right way. I do a lot of vaquero horsemanship, so I teach them the right way to start that horse.
Vaquero is so good, man. So good.
These horses, sometimes the guy will just suck in their belly button, and the horse will stop and back up. They'll look over their shoulder and just turn. I mean, these guys are getting good.
I love that, man.
Average.
I'm so glad you said that because there is a special way to teach a vaquero training method. And I got a good friend who's a great vaquero, and how they just drop and you lose the shoulder. They just come back so quick and easy. It's like melted butter. And when you do it, man, it's so much fun.
Then we'll put. Sometimes I have to okay, guys, we need to move them to the snaffle because our adopters might not, ride them. But we keep going back and forth in that hackmore. But now the horse has such a good understanding of the seat in the body of our body and our seat that everything just goes so smoothly and seamlessly, and
you're hooked on.
And then it's hard for these guys to adopt out the horses. I mean, this is their best friend, and they'll have 2 or 3 horses at a time. But then when it gets down to it, I mean, that's the reason why. Like Ego was my reason why I got off the couch and got out of the house. Got me out of depression. The horse becomes their best friend. It's the reason why they get up so early in the morning to get out there.
Well, I want to hear a story about when the horse leaves, how the guys handle it when we come back. And we'll be right back from the break for the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen, with JP Dyal at JP Dyal Horsemanship. And we're talking about horses when they are adopted out of the prison and how the guys react to that. So besides you, I guess the horse is one of their best friends. So how did they handle that?
Yeah, pickup day is kind of hard for them when the new adopters come to get the horses after the auction. And there's some tears. There's some slow moments. The other day, one of the adopters cut part of the tail off and wrapped it up and gave it to him. That was real neat. That was a neat gesture. I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of hard for them. They're kind of somber, but they understand. They understand the horse is going to a good home. They understand the purpose. What's been kind of cool is I've had 2 cool stories recently. Those guys have recently got out, and we adopted one horse out a while back, and it was one of the first times the gentleman started a horse the way I taught him, and his horse was named Lobo, and the horse ended back at my place for being tuned up and just furthering his training.
Right.
The gentleman owns him. Eamon's going to use him for packing, for hunting. Up there in Colorado. And so I didn't tell Danny the horse was there. But when these guys get out, I usually get a phone call within the first 2-3 days. As soon as I get a hand on their phone, they can get my number. They call me and they say, "Hey, Mr. Dyal, I need to see the horses." Now, they always say, "I need to see the horses." They don't say, "I want to." And when I get it cleared with with my management at jail, usually I wait 30 days and we bring them out. So I pick up Danny one morning, and first thing he's doing is asking about Lobo. And we couldn't have been in the car 45 seconds. You ever hear about Lobo much anymore or stuff? We're talking. I'm like, yeah, he's doing great. Doing great. He doesn't know he's at my ranch. And we get to my ranch and I say, here, let's go get some horses out. I said, here, go grab that bay over there. When it kind of looks over there, like kind of in the second turnout. And I said, when you get up there, just catch him like you used to catch a Lobo. And I just sat back and watched. And he walks up to that horse, just a little approach and retreat. And right when he gets close enough, he just stops. And I could tell he knew who it was. And he goes, Lobo? You get to see him kind of lean in and talk. And that's what he was saying. Then he turns around and goes, is this Lobo? I'm like, yep. Oh, man, that was neat. And then we had and then a real neat story. We had a guy, real big guy. He lost like 90 pounds working out at the ranch, but he still weighed 300. And I didn't, so he couldn't ride a horse. Every once in a while I'd bring a big Percheron cross out there for him to ride on, putt around on. But generally speaking, we didn't have a horse he could ride. We had ended up with a yearling. And so he got real good at, I taught him how to do all the groundwork and getting horses started. And he got those horses so good. And then, we adopted the horse out when it was like 2. And then the horse came back, ended up over at my place when it was 3 to be started. That horse was probably one of the easiest ones to start because that horse didn't forget anything. John had done such a great job with all the groundwork. We tacked him up. That horse learned so well. And so when John got out, they actually let me bring him out the first week to my place. Wow. And I had the pictures of them just walking around the ranch all day like they used to back at R3C over at the sheriff branch. It was just the neatest thing in the world, to watch them reunite. And I have story after story about that. I took the guys out not too long ago. I surprised a few of them with a trail ride. It's the first time they actually got to go on a trail ride. So they've been training horses. We have pastures and stuff, but they're not going to go on a trail ride. They're still in arenas and just what little land we have. And I took them out to Party Reservoir, and we had a great 4 or 5 hour trail ride and barbecue, and it was just neat to watch them up on top of this hill with this big vista and seeing the smiles on their face and just out there riding all day. And we had other people who had adopted horses from the program were on the ride with us. And I didn't tell them what we were doing. They thought they were just coming over to the ranch to give me a hand. They'll come help me in my clinics, and I'll introduce them. And they just want to be around the horses. And then we pulled up that morning. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. Go. I told them which horses to grab. I said, put them in the trailer. And I have a neat picture of when I should have sent that one to you. When we're headed out, we take like a big selfie, and the smiles on their faces. I'll send you those pictures. Let's see.
Please do. Seeing. Yeah, please do. Man, how cool is that, though? Because you're giving them something maybe they've never seen, and that's hope. Riding that horse, looking at the mountains, that's just, that gets me excited, and I get to do it, daily. For someone that's never done that. Yeah. I can't imagine.
I took one of them out on Monday morning, grabbed Danny, and he's been a little bit of a tough time. And we're out there riding, and he's just kind of behind us. And I just kind of rode back and checked on him. You okay? He goes, yeah, great. I needed this. And he's just out there riding one of my horses, big old Frosty, and and that horse can feel the energy of anything. And that horse was just so calm, and you get to see Danny's just kind of letting it all go, and the stresses he was having, and he's doing well now. Talked to him about an hour before this, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat to see. I mean, the horse does change, and it's not just those guys. I see it in my clientele.
Sure.
Issues. We all have issues and stuff going on in our lives and relationships and stuff, and I get to watch it in all my clientele, and it's just you get to see a little bit more out there because it's more raw.
Right.
And then
makes sense.
They can't put as many masks on, I guess. But they're more willing to take down the mask out there than some of my clientele in the private sector are.
Well, that says a lot about you and the horse, because it lets them lose the mask, like you say, but then all of a sudden they're able to accept what they're doing and get soft, and that's so incredible.
Yeah. It's like I remember one guy told me, he goes, "Never did I think I would have to go to jail to learn to train a horse to save my life." I was
It's
like,
funny, isn't it?
yeah.
You never know. You never know where it's coming from, that help. And it just
No.
happened to come from the horse, That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
they do that to us.
yeah, they do. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about something else you're involved in. And it's something
Yeah.
I love. And Lisa, has told me some about, she's been
Yeah.
sending me information. It's called Equus.
Yeah.
And I know you'll have a big event coming up in Sacramento, but would you mind talking about it, about your involvement,
Sure.
and a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'm helping organize a Equus Film Festival out here. We're doing that in coordination with the Mustang Discovery Ride. Lasanne Fear, she's riding Mustangs across the United States right now, started in Delaware, and she'll end up in Point Reyes at Limator Beach. She's in Colorado right now. So that's how I kind of first got involved. When she hits California, it's kind of my job to kind of help get her over to Point Reyes and people riding with her and all. And then Lisa and I were talking, and they were going to be doing a film festival in Ocala. I'm like, that's at the same time she's going to be ending here. I said, we got to talking, and she's like, should we have it out there? I'm like, yes. I mean, so we're getting we're getting everything planned out. We're hoping to get you out there. It's gonna be real neat. It's gonna be a Thursday evening when we start with a reception, and we're gonna have demonstrations all day Friday with horsemen. And one gentleman I was telling you about, he just got a job on a ranch. His name's Q. He wants to start training. I talked to him last night about it. He's going to be one of the clinicians there. And then we'll have a dinner thing. We'll start the films on Saturday, run all day, the documentaries, and again on Sunday, and then the awards Sunday night. And it's so neat to watch, when I've been watching these documentaries, and it's just so neat what they do for everyone. And you can see everyone's story in them. And there's so many stories out there. You don't see these kind of stories in other aspects of life like you do in horses. Yeah. In sports stuff now. I mean, what I see in the horses, and this film festival is going to be really, really neat for, all horses. We do happen to have some more Mustangs coming through this time because of the Mustang Discovery Ride. And, they're trying to build some programs for inner city youth kids. That's where we're hoping to leave as our hoof print. But we're real excited, and you can't ask for a better place. And there are more horses out here than And this is such a great community.
Oh, that's awesome. So I guess it's open to the public?
Yep. It's going to be open to the public. And once we get the schedule of events all put together, we'll be announcing that here hopefully shortly. We're still looking for sponsors. If people who are willing to sponsor, this is a great way. Way to be involved, get your name out, and be such a great cause.
I love that, and I love that the production teams are going to be there to watch your ride in on a Mustang, and you're capturing that coming across the country, and you have the books and movies and films and speakers, clinics. So if you're a horse person, yeah, I mean, it's a place to go. So how can people find out about it? Do they just go to equus.com, or what's the best way?
Well, you go to Equus Film Festival. It's EQUUS, or Facebook. The same thing. Okay. You can always link up with me on JP Dyal Horsemanship, Heart of the Horse, and I can help direct you right to where you need to be and the right places. For those of you who are interested in following Lasanne Fear, Mustang Discovery Ride. That's a neat journey. I mean, she started on the beach in Delaware, and she's going to end up in the beach in Limator Beach in California, and that's a real neat story right there. And hopefully next year that'll be at the film festival.
That's so cool.
But no, it's and it's also up on my website, jpdyalhorsemanship.com. But Equus Film Festival is where you'll find us.
I love that. And I love how y'all documented that whole excursion across the country. And I think talking with Lisa, she said people would show up with Mustangs and just ride part of the way with her. Is that right?
Yeah. People are doing that a lot. It's not the easy thing because we don't know where she's going to be at any given time. We know a few days in advance. She's doing 20 miles a day, then a couple of days off. Some days, she gets slowed down. And this heat's been kind of bad. Hopefully we don't run into any fires coming through. She's got a real treacherous part to get through when she gets hits the California border, the first part's going to be really, I'm supposed to be in charge of getting her through this. And I'm like, this is not going to be easy. And then, but once we get to Auburn, California, it's going to be pretty much smooth sailing from there. And so,
Wow.
we're going to do some events along the way to meet the Mustang events. We're looking for a couple of vineyards to do them at, where people come out there and get to meet her and the Mustangs and raise some money, because we're still raising money for her to get her across. These things aren't cheap.
It's crazy all y'all are doing for the good of the horse, the Mustang, and the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's fantastic.
Well,
and that's why I couldn't wait to get you on the show and just to talk about it. So once people see everything y'all are doing, you naturally want to be a part of it in some way, just to help.
I mean, there's such great horses. Yes, I got a fancy Metallica and a couple others, but I will always have a Mustang. A Mustang's going to be my heart horse always. I got an incredible one right now. I've got a few. But, it's just about bringing awareness. I mean, the most versatile horses you've ever been around. I don't care. I mean, whether it's dressage, we've had some very high-level dressage horses, jumping. Over in the East Coast, there's a club out there, Mustangs is a jumping club. I mean, and they got a huge membership. I was like, wow. So it's not just Western. We do that more out here in this area of the country, but it's such a versatile horse. And I mean, they're America's horse.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And I know it's going to be a great time in Sacramento. And I'll be happy to share on Cowboy Entrepreneur social media sites too, when y'all have the flyers and when you have more information. But man, I was checking out your website, the JP Dyal Horsemanship website. It's really great, man. Great pictures and great information.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine built that. He moved out to North Dakota, but he's pretty good at building websites. Man,
it's really good because you can feel the horse through the site. It might sound strange, but you can see that horse and know it's a good horse.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures are really strong and well, cool, man.
Yeah.
So what else is next for you? So you have Equus coming up. We're getting close to the end of the show, and you're going to help her get to Sacramento. So what else?
Yeah, I have a few clinics out here in California. I'm looking to get my schedule of clinics, outside the state. We haven't put them together yet, for next year. So we're still looking for sites and hosts for that.
Awesome.
But, I have a few more clinics here. And then I'm going to San Antonio for a convention with Warwick Schiller in November. That's going to be pretty neat.
That'd be fun.
And that's going to be a lot of horsemen coming together for that. That's going to be a real big deal. And then, about that time, it's going to be game on, getting Lasan across the state and getting ready for Equus Film Festival.
Love it, man. Love it. Well, JP, thank you so much for being on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Man, I had so much fun. I can't believe it went so fast. And I know the audience loved hearing the stories and get involved for sure with everything you're doing.
Right. No, it's wonderful being on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, JP.
You have a pretty cool show.
Thank you so much. And thank y'all all for listening to us on KCAA or watching our podcast on our platforms. We really appreciate you, and thanks for watching the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups. Any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, We named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hello, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I want to tell you about a product I've tried and I love, and I feel the Cowboy Entrepreneur audience will as well. It's Rebellious Infusions. Rebellious Infusions, they're little packets of flavor. And you know, it gets hot in South Texas, over 100 degrees every day. And I like my water, but it's water. So I use these infusions, put them in my water. It makes it cold. It's great flavor, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's pure energy infusions. Rebellious Infusions. Go to drinkrebellious.com or on all social media platforms. Drink Rebellious.
KCAA.
This is Judge Herb Dodell, and our show is called For the People. It's available every Monday at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5. We'll be talking about all kinds of things pertaining to the law and how it really works from the inside.